Good morning, students. I am Kamal Nath and I am going to teach you English right now. Students, welcome you all in class of English. Here we are going to start a poem, Break, Break, Break. It's no doubt an elegy, a poem full of mourns, full of laments, but still that will impress you. Let us see and let us enjoy. Break, Break, Break is a poem composed by Alfred Lord Tennyson. It is composed by Alfred Lord Tennyson. You must have heard this name. He was born on 6 August 1809 and died on 6 October 1892. No doubt a detailed information is given on the back of the page, and I am sure you all will write them and learn. Here we shall go to the poem. What is the poem about? What are you going to learn in the poem? That is what here interesting, and certainly you will get lost in the theme, in the summary of the poem when you will listen it carefully. Student, this poem, as I told you earlier, is an elegy. That means a mournful poem. A poem which is here described about the death of the poet's friend, whose name was Arthur Henry Hallam. Break, Break, Break is composed by Alfred Lord Tennyson in the memory of his friend Arthur Henry Hallam, who died on 15th September 1833. In this poem, written in 1835, Tennyson expresses his inability to articulate grief for his close friend Arthur Henry Hallam, who had died just 2 years before. He is trying to express his sorrowfulness, his grief, his pain, but he is unable. He is not able to express or articulate or describe how he feels after the loss of his friend who was so close, so intimate, so loving to him, who died in 1835. It was written in 1835, and his friend died on 15th September 1833. In the first stanza, the poet is addressing the wave of the sea to break on the grey stones. He appeals the waves of the sea, O sea, break, break, break. He repeats this word. He gives a stress on this, and that's why this repetition is here of the word break. And so he is telling, break, 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 oh thy cold grey stones, you waves, please, you break on the grey stones, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Alas, if I could express, I could explain how I feel, what is my grief, what is my pain, I cannot. I am unable. It is inexplicable to explain how I feel after the death of my friend. In this poem, as I told you, written in 1835, Tennyson expresses his inability. He is not able to express, to articulate, or to draw really the correct picture of his mental state, how he felt for his close friend, whose name was Arthur Henry Hallam. Let us see now. The poem is an elegy, mournful poem, sad poem, because he is describing about his friendship, how he enjoyed his friendship, how much memories he has in his mind when he had spent his childhood with him. So this is what the poem. This poem is an elegy that describes Tennyson's feelings of loss after his friend's death and also shows his feelings of isolation, how he has become complete alone. This is what the description about. The poem expresses that whatever may happen to human life, but the nature and life goes on as usual. Human may go, may come, but the events of the nature cannot be stopped and cannot stop. It goes on. Everything he finds all around him, nothing is changed. Everything is going on. And so in the poem he describes the atmosphere, the people, what he watches. And he says that nothing outside is changed, but his world is completely changed. His state of mind is completely changed. The poem expresses that whatever may happen to human life, but the nature and life goes on as usual. So let us see next. On the surface, the poem seems relatively simple and straightforward. In the very beginning, in the first para, it is just here simple and straightforward, he has explained. And the feeling is easy to discern, easy to find out. The speaker wishes he could give voice, he could articulate, he could really make the picture, draw the picture of his grief. So the speaker wishes to, he could give voice to his sad thoughts and his memories, to move and speak like the sea and other around him. What he watches all around him about the people, their movements, their happiness, because they all are indifferent. They have not the pain what the poet has. So the poem's deeper interest is in the series of comparisons between the external world and the poet's internal world. How he feels and what he watches, what he sees outside the world. The outer world is where life happens, is going on as usual, or where it used to happen for the speaker. The inner world is what preoccupies him now, caught us in deep pain, what ideas has planted, rooted in his mind about his friend, about the days, about the memories, no doubt, when he describes that really led us in the deep pain and loss and the memories of a time with the one who is gone. His friend is gone. So next one is here. In the second stanza, Tennyson similarly expresses distance between himself and the happy people playing or singing where they are. You can see in that here he is telling that a fisherman's son and a sailor lad who is lad, they all are. The fisherman's son and his sister are playing, running, laughing on the seashore. At the same time, a lad who is sailing in the bay, he is singing. So in this way, the poet wants to tell the external world is just the same, unchanged. Nothing has happened. But his own internal world, in his state of mind, everything is really just created in commotion. And that's why he is here telling about that in the second stanza, Tennyson similarly expresses distance between himself and the happy people playing or singing where they are. They express joy and fulfillment. The people, to those he watches in the sea, in the seashore, in the bay, whether together or alone. But he does not. He is not enjoying. He has not that kind of feeling, that kind of happiness, that kind of state of mind as the other people have. The brother and the sister have each other that kind of happiness. Here the poet tells, the sailor has his boat and the speaker is alone. They have reason to voice pleasure. These people have reason why they are happy. But he doesn't. The poet has no reason to be happy. One might sense envy here. Here, in one way, can feel that the poet is feeling envious to see someone happy, so joyous, and his own internal state. He when compares these two different head states, he feels envious, and that's why that comparison he is making here. Like, oh, for touch of a vanished hand, he's telling, they all are here happy, but I have no friend so that I can shake a hand. I can touch the hand of my friend and I can listen his sound, listen his voice. The brother and sister have each other that happiness, and the sailor has his boat and the speaker is alone. So they have reason to voice pleasure, they have reason why they are expressing their happiness, but the poet doesn't have. One might sense envy here, but oh well, also suggests that these blithe young people have losses yet to come. But the young poet who has lost his happiness, lost his that joyous mood, is still to come. He hasn't. So this was what had the poem, students, and I am sure that you must have understood. And when I will explain you in online class whole poem line wise, every stanza, certainly you will enjoy much better. So you should read this poem again and again and enjoy it. Much of the content itself will come to your mind, and the day when I will explain you, you will no doubt just enjoy it. You can understand it in a much better way. Thank you, students, being with us, listening to me and enjoying the poem. Thank you all.